Karina baby for October. Oh, let me turn on the light. I'm sorry. There we go. Alright, Karina baby for October the 12th. We have A Thimble Too Much. Let's take a look at this. From A Year Full of Stories. The dolls Elizabeth and Rebecca were moving. Teddy and Robert were helping to load furniture into a toy moving van. There were so many things. They loaded 2 beds, a sofa, a big armchair, a rocking chair, a chest of drawers, a grandfather clock, a wardrobe, the kitchen table, and all the pots and pans. Phew, said Teddy. I'm pooped. There's still more, says Robert, and the van is nearly full. Don't forget my dress, please, says Elizabeth. Or my hat and shoes, says Rebecca. We'll bring the sewing machine and work basket, said the dolls. Teddy and Robert managed to squeeze everything in. The van was bulging at the sides. What a load, said Teddy. I'll drive, says Robert. He was just about to start the engine when Rebecca came running out of the doll's house. She was holding a tiny thimble. I nearly forgot this behind, she said, and popped the thimble inside. But oh dear, the load was just too heavy. The van toppled over backwards, and everything fell out. It was the thimble that did it, said Teddy. Now we'll have to start all over again, said Robert. This time, said Rebecca, I'll carry that thimble myself. A thimble too much. There they are moving everything. There's her thimble on her fingers. They got some good help in moving, huh, baby? We always got good help when we moved. Always, always. Well, a couple of times we did it ourselves. So one time Mama did it all by herself. 2 times Mama did it all by herself. I moved Papa and I into our first apartment that we lived together by myself because it was your Papa's birthday. And so we moved into that apartment 2 days after his birthday. And then, so he stayed home, he played Silk Road, and I moved everything into our new apartment. We didn't have that much stuff. And then we went out together to pick up certain things for that apartment. We picked up a glass table and dishes and all kinds of things from one of my best friends. And, she's still my best friend. You're allowed to have more than one best friend, baby. I have a bunch of best friends. I have Chrissy and Courtney and Amber, and I have so many best friends. Like Eva, I love Amber, I love Courtney, I love Chrissy, I love all my best friends, right? Ashley is one of my best friends. I have a bunch of best friends. You're allowed to have more than one. And so I went down to one of my best friend's houses, and some of my other best friends were there, and we picked up dishes and a glass table and stuff like that for a new house. And, yeah. Baby Mama loves you. I love you, and I miss you. I miss you so much. Alright, baby. For today, we have 7 Simons. Far, far away beyond all the country, seas, and rivers, there stood a splendid city where lived King Archibald, who was as good as he was rich and handsome. His great army was made up of men ready to obey his slightest wish. He obeyed 40 times 40 cities, and in each city he had 10 places with silver doors, golden roofs, and crystal windows. His council consisted of the 12 wisest men in the country, each of whom was as learned as a whole college, and whose long white beard flowed down over their breasts. This counsel always told the king the exact truth. Now the king had everything to make him happy, but he did not enjoy anything because he could not find a bride to suit him. One day, as he sat in his palace looking out to sea, a great ship sailed into the harbor, and 7 merchants came on shore. Said the king to himself, these people have traveled far and beyond many lands. I will ask them if they have seen any princess who is as clever and as handsome as I am. So he ordered the merchants to be brought before him. When they came, he said, you have traveled much and visited many wonders. I wish to ask you a question, and I beg you to answer truthfully. Have you anywhere seen or heard of the daughter of an emperor, king, or princess who is as clever as and as handsome as I am, and who would be worthy to be my wife and the queen of my country? The merchants considered for some time. At last the eldest of them said, I have heard that across many seas, on the island of Busan, Busan, on the island of Busan, there is a mighty king whose daughter, the Princess Helena, is so lovely that she can certainly not be prettier than your majesty, and so clever that she is the wisest. Graybeard cannot guess her riddles, that the wisest graybeard cannot guess her riddles. Is the island far off, and which is the way to it? It is not near, was the answer. The journey would take 10 years, and we do not know the way. But even if we did, what use would that be? The princess is no bride for you. How dare you say so? Cried the king angrily. Your majesty must pardon us. Just think for a moment. Should you send an envoy to the island, it will take him 10 years to get there and 10 years more to return, 20 years altogether. Will not the princess have grown old during that time and have lost all of her beauty? The king reflected gravely. Then he thanked the merchants, gave them leave to trade in his country without paying any duties, and dismissed them. After they were gone, the king remained deep in thought. He felt puzzled and anxious, so he decided to ride into the country to distract his mind, and set for his huntsmen and falconers. The huntsmen blew their horns, and the falconers took their hawks on their wrists, and they set out across country till they came to a green hedge. On the other side of the hedge stretched a great field of grain as far as the eye could see. The yellow tips swayed to and fro in the breeze like a rippling sea of gold. The king drew rein and admired the field. Upon my word, said he, whoever dug and plotted it must be a good workman. If every field in my kingdom were as well cared for as this, there would be more bread than my people could eat. And he wished to know whom the field belonged. Off rushed all of his followers at once to do his bidding, and found a nice tidy farmhouse in front of which sat 7 peasants lunching on rye bread and water. They wore red shirts bound with gold braid, and were so much alike that one could hardly be told from another. The messengers asked, "Who owns this field of golden grain?" The 7 brothers answered, "The field is ours." "And who are you?" "We are King Archijad's lovers." Those answers were replied to the king, who ordered the brothers to be brought before him at once. On being asked who they were, the eldest said, bowing low, the king Archijad, are you laborers children? Oh, are you laborers children of one father and mother? Are you laborers children of one father and mother? And we all have the same name. Each of us is called Simon. Our father taught us to be true to our king, to till the ground, and to be kind to our neighbors. He also taught each of us a different trade which he thought might be useful to us, and he bade us not to neglect Mother Earth, which would surely reward our labor. The king was pleased with the honest peasant, and said, "You have done well, good people, in planting your field, and now you have a golden harvest. But I should like each of you to tell me what special trade your father taught you." "My trade, O king," said the first Simon, "is not an easy one. If you will give me some workmen and materials, I will build you a great white pillar that shall reach far above the clouds." "Very good," replied the king. "And you, Simon, the second, what is your trade?" "Mine, your majesty," said the second Simon, needs no great cleverness. When my brother has built the pillar, I can climb it, and when the top far above the clouds, I can see what is happening in every corner under the sun." "Good," said the king. "And Simon the third?" "My work is very special, sire. You have many ships built by learned men, with all sorts of new and clever improvements. If you wish it, I will build you quite a simple boat, 1, 2, 3, and it's done. My plain little ship does not look grand enough for a king, but where other ships take a year, mine takes the voyage in a day. And where they would require 10 years, mine will be the distance in a week." "Good," said the king again. "What has Simon the fourth learned?" "My trade, O king, is really of no importance. Should my brother build you a ship, then let me embark in it. If we should be pursued by an enemy, I can seize our boat by the... It's P-R-O-W. I don't know if it's row. By the prow. P-R-O-W. By the prow, and sink it to the bottom of the ocean. When the enemy has sailed off, I will draw it up to the top again." "That is very clever of you," answered the king. "What does Simon the fifth do?" "My work, your majesty, is more blacksmith's work. Order me to build a smithy, and I will make you a crossbow from which neither an eagle in the sky nor a wild beast in the forest is safe. The bolt hits whatever the eye sees." "That sounds very wonderful," said the king. "And now, Simon the sixth, tell me your trade." "Sire, it is so simple I am almost ashamed to mention it. If my brother hits any creature, I catch it quicker than any dog can. If it falls into the water, I can pick it up out of the greatest depths of it is in, and a dark forest, I can find it even at midnight." The king was so much pleased with the trades and talk of the six brothers, and said, "Thank you, good people. Your father did well to teach you all these things. Now follow me to the town, for I want to see what you can do. I need skillful people such as you about me, and when harvest time comes, I will send you home with royal presents." The brothers bowed and said, "As the king wills." Suddenly the king remembered that he had not questioned the seventh Simon. So he turned to him and said, "Why are you silent? What is your handicraft?" And the seventh Simon answered, "I have no handicraft, O king. I have learned nothing. I could not manage it. And if I do know now to do anything, it is not what might properly be called a real trade. It is rather a sort of performance, which no one, not even the king himself, must watch me doing, and I doubt whether the performance of mine would please your majesty." "Come, come," cried the king, "I will have no excuses. What is this trade?" "First, sire, give me your royal word that you will not kill me when I have told you. Then you shall hear what it is." "So be it then. I give you my royal word." Then the seventh Simon stepped back a little, cleared his throat, and said, "My trade, King Archijod, is such that a man who follows it in your kingdom generally loses his life and has no hope of pardon. There is only one thing I can do really well. That is to steal and to hide the smallest scrap of anything I have stolen, not the deepest value, even if its lock were enchanted, could prevent me from stealing anything out of it that I wish to have." When the king heard this, he fell into a passion. "I will not pardon you, you rascal," he cried. "I will shut you up in the deepest dungeon on bread and water till you have forgotten such a trade. Indeed, it would be better to put you to death at once, and I've a good mind to do so. Don't kill me, O king. I am really not as bad as you think. Why, I have chosen I could have robbed the royal treasury, bribed your judges to let me off, and built a white marble palace with what was left. But though I know how to steal, I do not do it. You yourself asked me my trade. If you kill me, you will break your royal word." "Very well," said the king, "I will not kill you. I pardon you. But from this hour you shall be shut up in a dark dungeon. Here, guards, away with him to the prison. But your 6 Simons follow me, and be assured of my royal favor." So the 6 Simons followed the king. The 7th Simon was seized by the guards, who put him in chains. Was that fair, baby? He didn't want to tell his trade. He didn't want to open his mouth. He wanted to be pardoned. And then the king, when he found out his trade, locked him up in a dungeon. Life isn't fair. Who put him in chains and threw him into prison with only bread and water for food. Next day the king gave the 1st Simon carpenters, masons, blacksmiths, and laborers, with great amounts of iron, mortar, and the like. Simon began to build, and he built his great white pillar far, far up into the sky, as high as the nearest star. Then the 2nd Simon climbed up the pillar and saw and heard all that was going on throughout the whole world. When he came down, he had all sorts of wonderful things to tell. How one king was marching in battle against another, and which was likely to be the victor. How in another place great rejoicings were going on, while in the third place were dying and famine. In fact, there was not the smallest event going on over the earth that was hidden from him. Next the 3rd Simon began. He stretched out his arms once, twice, thrice, and a wonderful ship was ready. At the sign from the king, it was launched and floated like a bird on the waves. Instead of ropes, it had wire for riggings, and magicians played on the wires with fiddle bows and made lovely music. As the ship sailed about, the 4th Simon seized the row with his strong hand, and in a moment it was gone, sunk to the bottom of the sea. An hour passed, and then the ship was at the top of the water again, drawn up by Simon's left hand. Well, in the right hand he carried a gigantic fish from the depths of the ocean for the royal table. While this was going on, the 5th Simon had built his forge and hammered out his iron. And when the king returned from the harbor, the magic crossbow was finished. His Majesty went out into the open field and once looked up into the sky and saw far, far away an eagle flying up towards the sun and looking like a tiny speck. Now, said the king, if you can shoot that bird, I will reward you. Simon only smiled. He lifted the crossbow, took aim, and fired. And the eagle fell. And it was falling. The sixth Simon ran up with a dash, caught the bird before it fell to earth, and brought it to the king. Many thanks, my brave lads, said the king. I see that each of you is indeed a master of his trade. You shall be richly rewarded. However, rest now and have your dinner. The six Simons bowed and went to dinner. But they had hardly begun before the messenger came to say that the king wanted to see them. They obeyed at once and found him surrounded by all his court and counselors of state. Listen, my good fellows, cried the king as soon as he saw them. Hear what my wise advisers have thought of. I am told that far away across many seas is a great kingdom of the island of Busan, and that the daughter of the king is the beautiful princess Helena. As you, Simon the Second, can see the whole world from the top of the great pillar, I want you to climb up and to view the island of Busan. Off ran the second Simon and clambered quickly up the pillar. He gazed around, looking on all sides, and then slid down to report to the king. Sire, I have obeyed your orders. Far away I saw the island of Busan. The king is a mighty monarch, but full of pride, harsh and cruel. He sits on his throne and declares that no prince or king on earth is good enough for his lovely daughter, that he will give her to none, and if any king asks for her hand, he will declare war against him and destroy his kingdom. Has the king of Busan a great army? Asked King Archijah. Is his country far off? As far as I could judge, replied Simon, it would take you nearly 10 years to fair weather to sail there. But if the weather was stormy, it might be 12. I saw the army being reviewed. It is not so very large, 100,000 men at arms, and 100,000 knights. Besides those, he has a strong bodyguard, and a good many crossbowmen, although you might say another 100,000. But there is a picked body of heroes who reserves themselves for a great occasion, requiring particular courage. The king sat for some time, lost in thoughts. At last he said to the noble and carriers standing around, I am determined to marry the Princess Helena, but how shall I do it? The nobles, carriers, and counselors said nothing, but tried to hide behind each other. Then the third Simon said, Pardon me, your majesty, if I offer my advice. You wish to go to the island of Busan. What can be easier? In my ship you will be there in a week instead of 10 years. But ask your council to advise you what you should do when you arrive. In one word, whether you will win the princess peacefully or by war. But the wise men were as silent as on this question as always. The king frowned and was about to say something sharp when the court fool pushed his way to the front and said, Dear me, what are all you clever people so puzzled about? The master is quite clear, and as it will not take long to reach the island, why not send the seventh Simon? He will steal the fair maiden fast enough, and then the king, her father, may consider how he is going to bring his army over here. It will take him 10 years to do it, no less. What do you think of my plan? What do I think? Why, that your idea is excellent, and that you shall be rewarded for it. Come, guards, hurry, and bring the seventh Simon before me. Now, many minutes later, Simon the seventh stood before the king, who explained to him what he wished done, and also that to steal for the benefit of the king and country was by no means a wrong thing to do. Is life fair? Once again, life will never be fair, baby. Life will never be fair. He was going to behead the Simon. He has the Simon chained up, locked up, in a dungeon, eating nothing but bread and water. And now he needs his help. Is life fair? It's not fair, honey. It's never going to be fair, and that's okay. Although it was very wrong to steal for his own advantage, the youngest Simon, who looked very pale and hungry, only nodded his head. Come, said the king, tell me truly, do you think you could steal the Princess Helena? Why should I not steal her, sire? The thing is easy enough. Let my brother's ship be laden with rich brocades, Persian carpets, pearls, and jewels. Send me in the ship. Give me my 4 middle brothers and as comrades, and keep the 2 others as hostages. When the king heard these words, his heart became filled with longing for the princess, and he ordered all to be done as Simon wished. Everyone ran about to do his bidding. So, what did Simon the First and Simon the Second do? Simon the First could build pillars as high as the sky. Simon the Second could see everything in the entire world. So he's like, give me my 4 middle brothers. Keep my older brothers with you. The older brothers can take more care of themselves because they're older, and they can see everything, and they can build up to the sky, and they could see. So that was very wise of him. He wants the brother that has the crossbow. He wants the brother that could build ships. He wants the brother that can take him down to the bottom of the sea so that he's protected. He wants to be protected by his brothers. And so he protects himself at home and on sea. He's very smart. Everyone ran to do his bidding. Okay, let's go back a little bit. When the king heard these words, his heart became filled with longing for the princess, and he ordered all to be done as Simon wished. Everyone ran about to do his bidding, and in no time, the wonder ship was laden and ready to start. The 5th time Simon took leave of the king, went on board, and had no sooner set sail than they were almost out of sight. The ship cut through the waters like a falcon through the air, and just a week after starting, sighted the island of Busan. The coast appeared to be strongly guarded, and from after the watchman on a high tower called out to them, "Halt and anchor! Who are you? Where do you come from? And what do you want?" The 7th Simon answered from the ship, "We are peaceful people. We come from the country of the great and good King Archibald." Archidej. Archijah. And we bring foreign wares, riches, brocades, carpets, and costly jewels. Which we wish to show to your king and the princess. We desire to trade, to sell, to buy, and to exchange. The brothers launched a small boat, took some of their valuable goods with them, rowed to shore, and went up to the palace. The princess sat in a rose-red room, and when she saw the brothers coming near, she told her lady-in-waiting to inquire who these people were and what they wanted. The 7th Simon answered to the lady-in-waiting, "We come from the country of the wise and good King Archijah. said he, and we have brought all sorts of goods for sale. We trust the king of the country may consider to welcome us and let his servants take charge of our wares. If he considers them worthy to adorn his followers, we shall be content. This speech was reported to the princess, who ordered the brothers to be brought to the rose-red room. At once they bowed respectfully to her and displayed some splendid velvets and brocades, and opened cases of pearls and precious stones. Such lovely things have never been seen in the island, and the ladies of the court stood bewildered by the magnificence. They whispered together that they had never beheld anything like it. The princess, too, saw and wondered. Her eyes could not weary of looking at the lovely things, nor her fingers of stroking the rich, soft velvets, and of holding up the sparkling jewels in the light. "Fairest of princesses," said Simon, "be pleased to order these gracious ladies to accept the silks and velvets, and let them tear their hairdresses. And let them trim their headdresses with the jewels. These are no special treasures, but permit me to say that they are as nothing to the many-colored tapestries and gorgeous stones and ropes of pearls in our ship. Do not look to bring more. We did not look to bring more with us, not knowing what your royal taste might be. But if it seems good to you to give honor to our ship with a visit, you might condescend to choose such things as are pleased in your eyes." This polite speech pleased the princess very much. She went to the king and said, "Dear father, some merchants has arrived with the most splendid wares. I pray you to allow me to go to their ship and choose what I like." The king thought and thought, frowned hard, and rubbed his ears. At last he gave consent and ordered out his royal yacht with 100 crossbowmen, 100 knights, and 1,000 soldiers to escort the Princess Helena. Off sailed the yacht with the princess to her and her escort. The brother Simon came on board to conduct the princess to the ship, and led by the brothers and followed by the lady in waiting. Followed by her lady in waiting and her other women, she crossed the crystal plank which led from one vessel to the other. The seventh Simon spread out his goods. He had so many curious and interesting tales to tell about them that the princess forgot everything else in looking and listening. So she did not know that the fourth Simon had seized the row of the ship, and that all of a sudden it had vanished from sight and was racing along in the depths of the sea. The crew of the royal yacht shouted aloud. The knights stood still with terror. The soldiers were struck dumb and hung their heads. There was nothing to be done but to sail back to tell the king of his loss. How he wept and stormed. "O light of my eyes," he sobbed, "I am indeed punished for my pride. I thought no one good enough to be your husband, and now you are lost in the depths of the sea. Have left me alone. As for all of those who saw this thing, away with them. Let them be put in irons and locked in prison while I think how I can best put them to death." While the king of Bussin was raging and lamenting in his fashion, Simon's ship was swimming like a fish under the sea. When the island was well off of sight, he brought the ship up to the surface again, and at that moment the princess recollected herself. "We have been gazing at these wonders too long," she said to her lady-in-waiting. "I hope my father won't be vexed at our delay." She tore herself away from the treasures and stepped on deck. Neither the yacht nor the island was in sight. Helena wrung her hands and beat her breast. Then she changed herself into a white swan and flew up. But the fifth Simon seized his bow and shot the swan. And the sixth Simon... Then she changed herself into a white swan and flew up. But the fifth Simon seized his bow and shot the swan, and the sixth Simon did not let it fall into the water, but caught it on the ship. Then the swan turned into a silver fish, but Simon lost no time and caught the fish. When, quick as thought, the fish turned into a black mouse and ran about the ship, he darted towards the hole. But before it reached it, Simon sprung up into it more swiftly than any cat, sprung upon it more swiftly than any cat, and then the little mouse turned once more into the beautiful Princess Helena. Early one morning, just 2 weeks after the ship had left the kingdom, King Archijah sat thoughtfully at his window gazing out to sea. His heart was sad, and he would neither eat nor drink. His thoughts were full of the Princess Helena, who was as lovely as a dream, when suddenly, is that a white gull approaching the shore, or is it a sail? No, it is no gull. No seagull, baby. It is the wonderful ship flying along with blowing sails. Its flags waved. All the fiddlers played on the wire ringing. The archer was thrown out of the crystal plank led from the ship to the pier. The lovely Helena stepped across the plank. She shone like the sun, and the stars of heaven seemed to sparkle in her eyes. Up sprung King Archijah in haste. "Hurry, hurry," he cried. "Let us hasten to meet her. Let the bugles sound, and the joyful bells be rung." The whole court swarmed with sentries and servants. Golden carpets were led down. The great gates of the palace were thrown open to welcome the princess. King Archijah went out himself, took her by the hand, and led her into the royal apartments. "Madam," said he, "the fame of your beauty has reached me, but I did not dare to expect such loveliness. Still, I will not keep you here against your will. If you wish it, the wonder ship, shall take you back to your father and your own country. But if you will consent to stay here, then reign over me and my country as our queen." What more is there to tell? Is it not hard to guess that the princess listened to the king's wooing, and that their betrothal took place with great pomp and rejoicings? The brothers Simon were sent along the island of Busan with a letter to the king from his daughter to invite him to their wedding. And the wonder ship arrived at the island of Busan just as the knights and the soldiers were to be escorted. The princess were being led to their execution. The knights who escorted the princess were being led to their execution. Then the seventh Simon cried out from the ship, "Stop! Stop! I'm bringing a letter from the Princess Helena." The king of Busan read the letter over and over again and ordered the knights and soldiers to be free. He entertained King Archibald's ambassadors hospitably and told them to return his daughter with his blessing, but he could not be persuaded to attend the wedding. When the work ship came home again, King Archibald and the Princess Helena were enchanted with the news it brought. The king sent for the 7 Simons. 1,000 thanks to you, my brave fellows, he cried. Take whatever gold, silver, and precious stones you want from my treasury. Tell me if there is anything else you wish, for I will give it to you, my good friends. Do you wish to be made nobles, or to govern towns? Only speak. Then the eldest Simon bowed and said, We are plain folk, your majesty, and understand simple things best. With what figures would we cut as nobles or governors? Nor do we desire gold. We have our fields, which gives us food, as much money as we need. If you wish to reward us, then grant that our land may be free of taxes. Oh, that's smart. And of your goodness, pardon to the 7th Simon. He is not the first who has been a thief by trade, and he will certainly not be the last. So be it, said the king, your land shall be free of all taxes, and the 7th Simon is pardoned. Then the king gave each brother a goblet of wine, and invited them all to the wedding feast. And what a feast that was. That was a good story, baby. That was a really good story. I've never heard that one before. That's why I like this book, because it's tales from all over the world. And it gives us an opportunity to learn about different things. So, Princess Helena had a father that was completely overprotective, right? Wasn't allowing his daughter to get married. Wasn't allowing his daughter to become what she wanted to become. And so she was taken away, and she chose to marry somebody. I hope that they lived happily ever after. It sounds like they did. Baby cakes, I love you, and I miss you, and I can't wait to see you. I love you so much, and I miss you so much, honey. Let's do a song or two. It's morning time. Let's do Bakerto, good morning. We sing Bakerto, we thank you for this life. We sing Bakerto each morning. This way we know it will be all right. It may not be all right now, baby, but it will be okay soon. Okay? I love you. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, swing chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Well, I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming forth to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Well, sometimes I'm up and sometimes I'm down, coming forth to carry me home. But still I feel my soul is heavenly bound, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. Now if you get there before I do, coming forth to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'll be coming there too, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Sorry, baby. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth and carry me home. I'll be coming home, coming home, coming home to you, coming forth to carry me home. You know my word is good, you know my word is true, coming forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, Sweet chariot, come on forth and carry me home. You know that I love, I love, I love you. Come on forth to carry me home. You know my word is good, you know my word is true. Come on forth and carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come on forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come on forth and carry me home. Karina, baby, I love you so much, and I miss you so much. We're gonna do Lila Tove, baby. Lila Tove, and good night to you. Lila Tove, may your dreams come true. We sing Lila Tove, may Israel protect you throughout the night until we reach the morning light. I can't wait to see you, honey. Like Papa always used to say, Mama's Papa's son, Papa's my moon, and you are absolutely our rainbow baby, and we love you, no matter what. I love you. I love you so much, honey. You are 5 years, 6 months, and 1 day old today. I think about you every single second of every single day, and I'm just trying to get back to you. I love you. I love you, and I miss you. You are not forgotten, no matter what. I don't care what anyone says to you. You are loved. You are cared for. Always. Always, honey. I will always love you, no matter what. Bye, baby. I love you.